of us only see the ongoing road and building constructions, there is actually a second wave of construction that will involve the Clark Freeport Zone's tourist attractions and sports facilities. Today with us is Ms. Noemi B. Julian, one of Clark Development Corporation's dynamic managers, who is at the forefront of the Freeport's events and a byword in the region's tourism sector. Para ibahagi ang kanilang trabaho at serbisyo sa Tourism Promotions Division ng Clark Development Corporation at para ibahagi din ang detalye sa events, promotion at facilities na sakop ng kanilang tanggapan, narito si Ms. Julian.
The title itself, the Tourism Promotions Division. So it means that we're after promoting Clark as a destination for tourists. And then when we say we promote it as a destination, marami ng components yan, of course. No? That's why we have three divisions. One is the Tourism Promotions and Services. And then the other one is Facilities Management and the Events Management section. So under the three sections, we have also people manning those. No? So ako lang yung overall as the head of tourism. So if I will qualify the three sections, first is the tourism facilities. We speak of the open spaces like parade grounds, Bicentennial Park, Children's Playground, no? And all other places like people can take photos, shoot, video shoot, commercial, whatever, no? Or film shooting. So that's also part of or under our office. And then for the special events naman, of course, as the title connotes, they're in charge of all the events, whether it's organized by CDC or co-organized by CDC or sponsored by CDC, it doesn't matter for as long as it's here in Clark. So we handle those and we facilitate the processing of. And then another section of the Tourism Promotions Division is the Tourism Promotion Services. The Tourism Promotion Services naman is in charge of the marketing, all the collaterals, the outbound missions, in charge of the services is in charge of tour packages, providing tours to the VIPs, to the guests of CDC. So, ganun siya. That's how we work.
Pagbalik tanaw sa mga major events at tourism highlights at sa natitirang bahagi ng 2017 ay ibabahagi din ng manager ng Tourism Promotions Division.
For 2017, it's all filled up. All the weekends of 2017. Meron tayong running, yan ang mga usual events natin. Running, biking, duathlon combined, running and biking. Since we won the 2015 Sports Destination of the Year Awards, it opened the doors also for the event organizers to see Clark as a venue for different types of sports. Hindi lang siya running, pati yung mga iba't ibang klase. Cricket nga, di ba? It's held in the parade grounds, in Clark. We also have football, we have baseball, diba? So it's a variety of different kinds of sports. And since we have the speedway, we have motors racing sports as well, no? And then we have horse racing, no? So yung variety na yon actually probably put us in the lead, no? In terms of sports tourism destination. Kasi tinitingnan nila yan, yung variety and the total number of attendees. So for the hot air balloon or the aerosports alone, we see the hot air balloon as an aerosports festival because, di ba, hindi lang naman balloon yung lumilipad doon. No? Lahat ng klase, pati langaw. So, ang ano doon is, the number of attendees actually it's quantitative, no? So we can quantify. We have more than 200,000 already. More than 200, siguro mga 263,000 for 2016 that are now upcoming. We have of course, we have the Ultra Marathon. No? We have Pinas Cup and then the LNT Cup. These are all football competitions. No?
We noticed that Color Manila will be back this September. Ms. Julian shares her insights why Color Manila keeps coming back in this Freeport.
We have the Clark Marathon, actually CM, which means Color Manila. May also mention that we have a standing agreement with Color Manila, Philippines, for a 3-year, it's a 3-year contract actually. And they need to stage minimum of 3 events per year. So this one, the Color Manila International Marathon is one of them. Aside from the black light, the usual Color Manila events. And then we have the Powerman. This is a duathlon. If you have Ironman in triathlon, this is the counterpart for duathlon. So, ganon. And then, yun, sunod-sunod na yan. Actually, towards the end of the year, we'll have that. And then, the highlights actually for the end of the year event, which is December, is the Clark Festival, of course, which we do annually. I think it's the 5th year already. And then, December 9, we're having the Clark Sunset Marathon. Ang partner natin dito is Coach Rio de la Cruz. And we have an agreement with Coach Rio, 10-year agreement actually, to stage events in Clark, and one of which is the Clark Sunset Marathon, which caps, you know, the 2017 year, no, for tourism in Clark.
The parade grounds has been a beehive of activity for practically every sport. We have seen baseball, football, frisbee, and even cricket being played in that area. On top of being an economic and industrial hub, we are seeing that CDC is shifting towards sports tourism.
I think the trend now is getting towards, you know, making Clark as destination. You know? Not just a manufacturing industrial area. Because of the airport, yun nga sinasabi ko, di ba, which is the centerpiece of development in Clark, plus the accessibility of the area and the facilities that we have right now, di ba, all combined, di ba, there's no other way, no? So you really have to understand that even if before, ganun yung iniisip natin na, Clark, manufacturing lang yan, industrial, di ba, ganun lang yan. But, you know, times change, di ba? Things change. Sometimes you really have to adapt to the changing times. So, what is relevant, excuse me, what is relevant now? Well, because of the existing facilities that you have, the relevant business now is tourism related. Ganun siya. So, yun, sports, it comes also as part of that, no? Because we have a huge area which is approximately 22 hectare parade grounds, which is open, a multi-sports facility. And I'm sure that we will have more facilities, no, in the future. Not to mention, of course, that there's a new city, diba? And it was announced already that SEA Games will be hosted by the Philippines, and I think, you know, that's one of the areas that they're looking at, diba, to be the venue. It makes sense that we bring in a lot of this kind of activities, spectator sports, lahat ng klaseng sports. Yeah. Hindi lang sports, actually. Clark is also gearing towards MICE because we have convention facilities, we have hotels, we have the rooms. No? That's why we're hosting ASEAN. We hosted APEC, no, in 2015, and now we're hosting ASEAN. One of the things that they notice, of course, we have the existing facilities. No? The government need not invest anymore, no? Put more capital to put up facilities. In Clark, private sectors actually spend for the facilities, di ba? So, walang masyadong cost sa government. But of course, yung ibang, like yung for the ASEAN, I think there will be cost also. The BCD is constructing villas.
Napag-uusapan na rin ang Clark bilang paboritong lugar para idaos ang iba't ibang sports events. Matunog rin ang balita sa pagtatayo ng 5,000 capacity na multi-purpose hall.
It's in the planning stages. No? But I think the concept is already approved. There's a plan to put up a multi-purpose hall. But that will be, siguro initially it will only be for convention. Later on, it will be converted into a multi-function facility, you know, with the bleachers and all. I think that will come later. But initially, they will first construct an air-conditioned 5,000 seating capacity convention facility, which will later on be a multi-purpose sports facility. So, ano.
Magandang balita para sa mga nagnanais mag-prenup photo and video shoot sa Clark. Ganon din sa mga groups na planong magtanghal ng events sa parade grounds at iba pang open spaces sa Clark dahil ibinahagi ni Ms. Julian kung papaano ang proseso.
First, for the events, sporting events, you know, iba-iba, no? If they want to use an area under CDC, napakadali. They will just go to the CDC Tourism Office and then ask if the No? The area is available for a specific schedule, and then sign up a form, fill up a form, and then pay the corresponding fee. For the parade grounds, iba-iba kasi yung rates niyan, no? Hinati yan per quadrant. So I think the lowest is 5,000, the highest is 8,000, depending on the, kasi malaki siya di ba? It's a 22-hectare flat land, no? Grassy portion of Clark. And in order for you to fill up that space, you need a super mega festival, di ba? Di ba? Hindi mo mapupuno no? So, ang ginawa natin parang per area. So we divided the parade grounds into quadrants. So 5,000 to 8,000 yun per day. Ganun yung rate niya, depending on the area that you want. But if you want it the whole area, that's what? Siguro mga more or less 30,000 to 35,000. For the bicentennial naman, ganun din. No? They go to our office, pa-check yung schedule, they can actually call. No? We'll check kung walang schedule, pe-pencil book na yan. Yung mga prenup, actually wala talagang bayad. No? For the record, prenuptial events or shoots, wala talagang bayad yan. It's more of an acknowledgement lang that you're doing it in Clark. This is a very nice area for prenuptial. Yun lang, solved na tayo. If it's within the leased property of our investors or locators, of course, hindi tayong kausap niyan. But outside of that, under jurisdiction of CDC, common areas, open spaces, diba, the parks, these are all under our jurisdiction, so they can use it for prenuptial.
Patuloy din ang mga tour sa historical sites sa Clark ayon kay Miss Julian. Narito ang buong detalye.
Well, even before, prior to the completion of those, actually, matagal na nating ino-offer talaga yung the tours. Ang ano lang is, these are all special arrangements. Parang hindi siya talaga regular tours. So, ang ginagawa natin ngayon, we want to make it as a regular tour. So once it's complete, the historical sites, there are tourism infrastructure projects actually in the pipeline for 2017 and for 2018. For 2017, we have the parks. Okay? Parks meaning bicentennial and the children's playground. We want to complete it sana within the year, 2017. The historical sites, well, we have several historical sites, and part of the 2017 project is to develop, Hindi naman major development. I think it's more of cordoning it off, di ba? Putting plants, landscaping, etc. Just to highlight that there is really a historical site somewhere, The area, the K9 Cemetery, this is the only one, I think, in the Philippines, na K9 Cemetery. There are, I think, several animal or pet cemetery. But this one is K9, meaning war dogs ang nakalagay dyan. So what we're going to do is to improve that area. Sayang naman diba? It's the only one. So improve that area. It's more or less 3,000 square meters. It's huge. These are all the tourism infra projects that we think will add up to our inventory of facilities. Not to mention, of course, all these buildings that we have right now, diba? Like our offices are historical. So, madadagdagan pa to.
Isa sa madalas puntahan sa Freeport, ang newly renovated at interactive na Clark Museum, ganun din ang 4D Theater. At ayon kay Ms. Julian, taon-taon ay patuloy ang kanilang pagtanggap sa mga bisita, lalo na sa mga estudyante bilang bahagi ng kani-kanilang educational tour.
Even before the renovation of the Clark Museum, and several years back, Clark is already part of any educational tour. Not only from schools here in Pampanga, but even from Manila, from all over the country, especially from Manila and the South. We actually offer special rates for tour groups like that, for the educational tours. So marami na yan. In fact, yung arrivals natin for the tour groups lumalaki. Especially now that we have the renovated museum and the adjacent 4D theater, which is probably one of the first, di ba? The 4D experience in a museum is something significant and different.
Sa mga nagnanais naman na mag-tour sa Clark, narito ang mga detalye at telephone numbers na maaari ninyong tawagan.
I would like to take this opportunity to invite everybody to come to Clark and visit our attractions, particularly our Clark Museum and our 4D Theater. It's a different kind of experience to have a 4D theater in the museum. And also we have other attractions as well. Hindi na po purely industrial and manufacturing firms ang nasa loob ng Clark. We also have some attractions, and if you want to know more of the attractions, you can actually access our website, as mentioned earlier, www.visitclark.com, and then we also have our fan page, Clark Tourism fan page.